Welcome to K&D's Homestead. I'm Donna. Today I'm making a pot of stewed potatoes to go with our dinner. And this is a recipe that I grew up on with my mother making, and she showed me how to make it through all the years of my life. I absolutely love stewed potatoes. It's one of my favorite ways to make potatoes. So I'm going to share that recipe that I use that she also used through the years. The first thing that I'm going to use is potatoes that are diced up a little bit thick, about this size. I have cut up, just for two of us, my husband and myself, I've cut up 6 small potatoes. And that's just for a serving of 2. I'm going to add some poultry broth, and I'm just going to add enough to cover the top of the potatoes. No deeper than that. Most of that's going to boil out. My poultry broth is dark because that particular batch I made with vegetables in it, because I use 2 different kinds when I can up poultry broth. I like the golden clear for general cooking, but I use the dark with the vegetables when I'm making a soup or a stew. And I'm out of the clear, so I'm using the dark today. But I do use poultry broth in place of water. I'm going to put just a pinch or 2 of some parsley in the pot. And by the way, the potatoes I grew in the garden. The parsley is homegrown as well. I'm going to add, this is 1/4 of a cup. I'm going to add, I'm dropping them, about 1 cup of diced onions. Those are homegrown as well. I am going to add 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder. And I'm going to add a couple tablespoons of butter. And that's not a precise thing. I just eyeball what I want. More butter, less butter, depending on what I want. I like a buttery flavor. I'm going to bring this to a boil. I don't want to boil them too long because I don't want them mushy. I want them to still have some shape and some sturdiness to the potato. I don't want them boiled down to where I can make mashed potatoes. So I'm going to let those come to the boil, and I'll be right back. They have started boiling. I'm going to boil these down to when the potatoes are tender with a fork but not breaking apart, and to boil them down to where the majority of the liquid has boiled out. Okay, they have boiled to the point of being tender with a fork. I just don't want a hard center, but I don't want them mushy. Now I'm going to add my salt and pepper. I do that towards the end. And I try not to stir too much because I don't want them broken apart. I'm going to add about 1/8 of a cup of evaporated milk. And that is going to thicken the potatoes and create like a gravy in the potatoes. With the milk in there, I'm going to let them continue to boil now for about 5 minutes. And then I'll turn them off and let them steep if I can show them. Sometimes I add extra butter on top of them when I serve them, but nothing else is going to go in them right now. I have let these boil for, I don't know, 5 to 7 minutes. And now it's time to turn them off. I don't want them to boil anymore because once you add milk, you are at risk of it scorching. So I'm going to turn it off and I'm going to put the lid on and just let them steep right here on a warm burner for about 15 minutes, and then they'll be ready to serve. I may have to add more salt and pepper. I'll wait until, you know, time to serve and then determine if I add any more butter or salt and pepper. But that's it. That's pretty much it. I'm going to let them sit here and steep with the lid on for about 15 minutes. After about 15 minutes of steeping with the lid on, they should be ready to eat. I'm going to try them. When you open the lid, they should be just a thick pot of potatoes with a really thick gravy. I mean, it's not super thick, but then I can tell if I need any more salt or pepper. They are going to be hot. They're really good. I don't think I need to add any more salt. I might add a little more pepper, but I don't think I need to add any more salt. I prefer to use the golden poultry broth, chicken broth, but I'm out. I regret that. It's good with the darker broth, but I would rather save my darker broth for other recipes. But using the golden chicken broth, they won't be as dark in color. They're just as good though. I like fried chicken on the side with these potatoes. I don't know why. Fried chicken just goes good, and some fried okra with these potatoes. They're really good. I grew up on these potatoes with my mother making them all of my life, and then my adult life I began making them as well. I hope that you will try this recipe if you've never had stewed potatoes. If you have had stewed potatoes, let me know in the comment section what you think of them, and let me know if you have a variation to this recipe. I'm always interested in trying something different. And if you have not subscribed before, I hope that you will. If you have, thank you so much for following my channel, and I hope that you will follow on the next videos to come. Y'all have a great day. Bye-bye.